If you feel like ongoing property maintenance is a seemingly never-ending task, as soon as you get one job done, another job appears on the list that needs to be sorted out. And this is a very common problem that we run into, especially in the UK. And in today's show, we are going to be talking about what big hotel groups do to minimise their long-term maintenance costs. So it's that time once again where I take a visit to a Travelodge, and this time it's a brand new Travelodge, and we're going to look at some of the design ideas and features that you could potentially take on for your own domestic property that will help to massively reduce your maintenance costs over time. It looks like we've got a removable access panel. Check it out. Welcome back, folks. If you want some design ideas and inspiration as to how you can design your property to be more maintenance friendly, there are really probably three places to look: schools, hospitals and hotels. And you can guarantee that hotels don't want to spend a penny extra on their initial building costs than they need to, but at the same time their long-term maintenance costs are really, really important to keep under control. So they're going to only spend money in the areas that they need to spend money in. And I think you'll find it quite surprising how much money even budget hotel groups spend on some of their fixtures and fittings to keep the long-term maintenance costs down. About a year ago, I had a look at a Travelodge down in London. That one had been refurbished about 5 or 6 years previously. So recently, I was lucky enough to stay in a brand new Travelodge, a one that had only just opened in 2019 when this was filmed. And I thought it would be interesting to show you some of the design ideas that they're now taking into account when they put these buildings together. This video isn't sponsored in any way. Travelodge don't know and probably don't care that I'm making this video. I would like to say a big thank you to the awesome staff at the Travelodge in the lovely seaside town of Rhyl in North Wales. They were all super friendly and the hotel was lovely. So let's take a look at how budget hotels are designing for low maintenance in 2019. The first thing you'll notice, and this isn't a new thing in hotels at all, but the walls are lined with solid oak trim about a foot above the skirting boards. Trust me when I tell you they're not going to install solid oak just for the fun of it, especially in a budget hotel. These trims are at the exact right height to protect the walls from suitcase damage. It's nice to see they've changed to proximity cards for the door locks. Once again, much less susceptible to wear and tear than traditional magnetic cards. And they'll even work without having to take the card out of your wallet. One thing to watch for in the future is the ability to use NFC technologies that are already built into most mobile phones, since this would completely do away with the need to have a room key at all. Haven't seen it yet, but the technology does seem to exist. And I do like the idea of being able to open my hotel room door with just a smartwatch, for example. Let me know in the comments if you've seen this anywhere. The room design itself hasn't really changed much from older Travelodges. This room's configured for a family of 4. It's comfortable, really has everything you need. I thought for a moment they'd done away with the wooden back panel for the smart TV, but it's still there, they've just made it much smaller. This gives a secure mounting point with pre-installed electrics. It also means whoever installs the TV has a completely predictable substrate to deal with, regardless of what's behind the wall. Nice to see USB connectors as standard on most of the sockets. We've also got a slightly bigger shelf to store all your electronics on. It's worth noting that almost every socket in the room is installed on a wooden backplate, presumably to protect the walls from scratches when you're constantly plugging things in all the time. We've got the usual modular mini wardrobe and slightly neater mounting of the writing desk this time. Once again, it all seems to be MFC. But no expense spared on the door frames. These all seem to be solid oak. Really hard to tell what the door itself is made of. Probably some sort of fire-rated composite material. And as you can see, we're now at 4 hinges instead of the previous 3 for holding the main door on. It's essentially a 3-hinge door with an additional top hinge. again probably to handle the additional loads imposed by the closer. All of the architraves and skirting boards seem to be MDF. No fancy air conditioning to maintain here, we've just got a simple wall-mounted electric heater for in the winter and a fan for in the summer. At the end of the day, it's a well-insulated building and it's Wales, it'll be fine. The recessed curtain track above the window is a bit of a design mystery. A lot of extra work's gone into that just for the sake of having floor-to-ceiling windows. I'm not sure if that was an intentional design decision or an afterthought. If anyone knows, let us know in the comments. Overall, the room is great, very comfortable. The only fault I could find, and it's quite a big one, is that the paintwork has already started peeling off the wall, and it's less than a year old. It just looks like they've made a fatal mistake and the plaster hasn't been primed properly. Take it from me, folks, regardless of what it says on your tin of paint about it being one coat or whatever nonsense that they're putting on, it's marketing hype. Always prime bare plaster. This paint flaking problem is going to be the bane of their lives. On a more positive note, the bathroom is where things start to get really interesting. I've seen this feature starting to crop up in new hotels over the last couple of years, and it's something to keep an eye on as it's starting to enter the domestic market as well. You'll notice there are no joins in the wall and every corner is rounded. It's really amazing when you look at it. You look all the way around, there's not a single join. Even the bath is a single piece GRP moulding, all moulded into the walls and everything. The only join I could find anywhere is directly above the door frame. No idea why there's a join there. If you know the answer to that, pop it in the comments. But anyway, these are known as prefabricated bathroom pods. The entire bathroom is built on a production line in a factory. They come in all shapes and sizes. It massively reduces the costs for on-site installation time. If you think about all the different trades needed for a typical bathroom installation and how much more efficient it is to have them working in a purpose-built factory instead of tripping over each other in a tiny little room, it's a really clever design solution. These things typically get craned in from above or slid in from the side during construction, so really it's a one-time fit. But then it's just a case of plugging it in via the service hatch in the corridor and away you go. The only slightly concerning thing I spotted was this cracking around the bottom of the door frame. It doesn't look structural, but it will start to look unsightly over time. Considering it's brand new, it's obviously something to look out for if you ever plan on going down the pod route for your next bathroom. As per usual, we've got grower fittings everywhere. We've got Vitra sanitary ware, and if you've ever wanted to know the most maintenance-free type of plug for your sink, it's these captive flip-top basin wastes. Solid brass, so there's very little that can go wrong with them. The only trouble is, in a shower, they close every time you stand on them. So for domestic use, I'd go for something more traditional for your shower waste. But for basins, they're great. Much more reliable than your lever wastes or your spring-loaded wastes. They look nicer than having a plug dangling on a chain. And they should pretty much last forever. Once again, we're seeing a preference for the removable shower curtain. At the end of the day, fancy glass shower screens are just too expensive to maintain. The door is your usual foil-covered hardboard, hard-wearing, low maintenance, ultra cheap, nothing to paint. It'll not last forever, but Travelodge will buy these in such quantities that it'll be cheaper to replace the whole door than to even attempt to repair a damaged door. The latch is actually faulty on this one, easily fixed, it's kind of a snagging issue. And the door frame itself, it's difficult to say what that's made of. I can't really tell without taking the strike plate off. Go on, I'll take the strike plate off. It's hard to say, but that looks like tulip wood to me. No MDF door frames here, and I think that speaks volumes. Hardwood door frames, even when they're getting painted. And what's this? It looks like we've got a removable access panel. Check it out. You can really see the GRP construction of the whole pod here. We've got an OSB outside board over a steel frame, push fit plastic supply pipes everywhere and solvent fit waste. You can also see we've got these big square washers to spread the load of the basin on the GRP wall, and here you can actually see what the glass fibres look like. We've got a pneumatic remote flush for the loo. Again, very little to go wrong with this, very easy to maintain. It's also nice to see that every screw that protrudes through has a big glob of a kind of silicone on the back of it, so that anyone doing maintenance later down the line doesn't rip their arms open on the screws. I best put everything back to normal before I accidentally drop my phone down here, because that would be very bad. So the takeaways from this: they've spent money on the door frames and on the fittings and on the sanitary ware, but they've really managed to save a lot of money on maintenance costs in terms of not bothering to have a fancy shower screen, going for the pod design that has literally no joins anywhere. Of course, the flooring, as per usual, is pretty much completely maintenance free. I think it's quite a good sign that they've gone for push fit fittings everywhere. If you're worried about push fit, this speaks volumes. Trust me, they would not be putting push fit in if there was a chance that these were going to leak later down the line. So there you go, folks. I hope you found that useful, and I hope you've found a few ideas here and there that you can bring forward into your own domestic properties that will hopefully reduce your maintenance costs over time. And with any luck, you can actually get to the end of your list of property repairs for once. If you've come across any other clever design ideas in hotels, please do share them in the comments below. It's always interesting, especially to hear from a global perspective, what is being done to reduce maintenance costs over time. As usual, take care, folks, and I shall see you next time. Bye.